Hey, this is Max, and welcome to the Running System Podcast. So today's episode comes about a week after I ran my first half marathon. If you guys remember a couple episodes back, I was talking about how we had signed up, actually about a year ago, we had signed up for a half marathon in Savannah, Georgia. And first ever race that I've ever done of that length. I've done, I ran cross country in high school for a little bit, and I've done like different 5Ks throughout the years. And, I'm not a big fan of running. The only reason I did it was because, my girlfriend and some of our friends signed us up, and, it's just, I was like, whatever, I'll do it. I don't really care. I didn't mind it. I didn't care if I'd finished. I didn't care, if anything happened. It was just something to do, and in all honesty, my opinion has not changed. I'm just not a fan of running. I hate running. I wouldn't say I'm like terrible at it, but I am pretty slow. I feel myself more as a sprinter more than a marathon runner. I feel like I'm faster in short bursts than I am in over long distances. That's just the honest truth. That's just what I think about myself. And in all honesty, when I was running it felt good, but it didn't feel great. It just wasn't one of those things that I would do again, unless I was in like a really particular mood, which I highly doubt that I'll ever be in that kind of mood again. And I got a time of about 2.5 hours, which I feel like is average for most people. I actually, in all honesty, I did stop a lot. Like not stop and like, catch a breather. I actually stopped to eat. Like about halfway through, I got really hungry. I saw a coffee shop and I just ran right in, got myself a bagel, and started it up again. That probably took me about 10-15 minutes. So I'm not like trying to say that I could have done a better time. I'm just saying that there were moments where I literally just stopped and did not move for a while just to do something. And that's more because I didn't really care if I finished or not. It was more just doing it with my friends because they wanted to do it. And if I know I said earlier that if I was in a particular mood, I would do it again. But, if they asked me to do another one, I probably would if they did it. Just because, it's something that they want to do, and then I want to support them in doing it. Just probably the best way to do that is just to run it with them, which is weird because if you're running it with them, and especially if you're at different paces, you're not going to be in the same area. You're just going to start and finish at this. You're going to start and finish at the same place, and you're probably going to have different times. But for me, one of the coolest things about it that I didn't really fully expect, because I've never been to Savannah, Georgia, but one of the coolest things is that it's a really old town. It's very much like a hometown. It's very small and it's very sectioned off. When they created Savannah, we actually went on a tour. When they created Savannah, it was done in sort of like block fashion. So there'd be like 4 squares or 4 blocks, and each block had 4 squares. And they just kind of expanded from there based on those squares to sort of represent where they come from, like more of a European style architecture and design and layout. It was very, very colonial. It's very historic, and there's like a lot of stuff that they actually have to sort of show that off. A lot of their shops and a lot of their restaurants, they're based around that old school idea. They use the old like ye old shop with like the 2 P's and the E at the end, and they have like tours all the time of the colonial times, of the Revolutionary War, of the Civil War. They're just showing off a lot of that stuff. They had like a Forrest Gump attraction, because Forrest Gump had actually ran through Savannah during the movie, and he actually had one of those like sort of he got on one of those tour buses, and there was actually a section in the tour bus where he got on as a character. There's like ghost tours, because apparently Savannah, the creator of Savannah, I think his name was Oglethorpe, didn't plan out where to put cemeteries and like tombstones and stuff, and so they've just built on top of them, which is kind of weird. But they had signs all over saying Savannah's like the most haunted town in all of USA, and it was just cool. It was really cool, and you got to see the city, which was beautiful. Like the design, like I was saying, and the layout was incredible. It wasn't something I expected. It had a very sort of New Orleans vibe, but also more of like kind of like a midtown USA kind of vibe, where it was just like it was just like the representative of the old school America. It was really cool. Everyone was super friendly. Like there wasn't a single person that was rude or mean or anything. Everyone was super friendly and super outgoing. It was crazy. But enough about the city. If you guys are ever in Georgia or in the USA or wherever, visit Savannah. I mean, it's beautiful. But back to the running thing, back to the half marathon. Yeah, during it was fine. Before I wasn't nervous or anything. I had in the very beginning when we first signed up, I was training. I'd be like building up my mile time. I'd be running, pretty much trying to run every day. And then as time went on, I just stopped. I didn't really care enough. I didn't really do it enough. And it wasn't just me. Everyone else didn't really train either. But again, I feel like I did a really good time for the amount of training and the fact that it was my first one. And on top of that, it was really weird because some people say like when you run a certain distance, you get this runner's high. I've never gotten a runner's high. Never, ever, ever. And I don't think I'll ever will because in deep down, I hate running. I don't want to do it. Like the only reason I would run is if I had to, or if I was like doing something that was actually enjoyable to me, like playing, I don't know, football or basketball, something like that, like ultimate frisbee, something I'd actually enjoy. Whereas running, I absolutely hate it. And I'm not saying that, I don't have like respect for runners. I have massive respect for runners, especially marathon runners, like ultra marathon runners, people that can run for like hundreds of miles. They're legit. They are people that I highly respect and don't think I could ever get to that physical fitness level. I mean, that's just mind blowing to me how they could do that. I mean, at this particular half marathon, there's also a marathon that's like pretty much happening at the same time, and there were people that were running faster than I was. They were completing their marathon, which is twice the distance, at the same amount of time or even less. It was insane. Like I think the fastest time for the marathon was like a little over 2 hours, and I had finished my half marathon in 2.5 hours. That's insane. It's crazy the pace that they were setting. Like there was a pregnant lady that ran the full marathon. Pregnant. I think she was about like a couple months pregnant, but still, like I don't even know if that's like physically acceptable. Like I don't know who the doctor was that signed that off, but she did it. She ran it and she finished. And it was insane. She finished in like I think like maybe 3-ish hours, which is still crazy. That's insane to think about, like 26.2 miles in 3 hours by a pregnant lady. Like how can you not respect that? How can you not admire that sort of perseverance, that sort of determination, that sort of, I guess, skill? That is a skill, right? I would think so. Yeah, so I never really I actually never really bash on anyone that does any sort of athletics. Doing jujitsu, doing like martial arts, there's a lot of stigma with other martial arts. Like if you do karate and you look at like BJJ, if you look at judo, it's like you do that funky shit. Whereas like if you do jiu-jitsu, if you do like MMA or something, you look at karate, it's like, oh, you do that pussy shit. No, I don't have that. You got to respect people for trying to better themselves. You got to respect people for achieving something in athletics, something in fitness, especially in this day and age where it's just becoming less and less. We don't need to be running. We don't need to be really training all the time with kata and like forms. We don't need to do that. But doing it is wonderful for you. Like there's a lot of bashing. If you do martial arts or if you like into the martial arts world, you see people bashing on Aikido without realizing that Aikido isn't really a self-defense thing. It's more of like a personal sort of, I guess, what was it? Internal martial art. It's something to center yourself, something to sort of hold on to and believe in and to build your spirit, not your body, right? And it's like, this isn't really as relevant in other sports, I guess. Maybe you see it in like football to basketball players and vice versa or whatever. Like some people hate on soccer players for always flopping all the time. But you have to respect these guys. You have to respect these people for putting their bodies on the line. And like I was saying earlier, I have nothing but massive, massive respect for marathon runners, for triathletes, for ultra marathon runners, for even just people like weekend warriors that run 5Ks all the time. You have to respect that because they're doing it. Are you doing it? I don't think so, right? And even if you are, you have to respect them because everyone starts at different like places in their lives, and everyone achieves different levels that are relative to them, right? Like just because I ran I ran that half marathon in 2.5 hours, and B, my girlfriend ran it in 3.5 hours. I can't bash on her for her time. I can't because I know my fitness level is higher than hers because I've been training martial arts. I've been doing all these physical activities since I was like 14, 13. And, she hasn't. She's an IT auditor. She sits at a desk all day. And for her to even just get out there and run a half marathon, that's something to admire. That's something to respect. And for her to actually try. She was joking the entire time how she was just going to walk it. She didn't really care. She's going to finish in 4 or 5 hours. But she ran it. She tried to run. That's something you have to respect. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. You have to respect people for the things they try. Because that's all it is. That's all life is. It's just trying. Right? We're all trying to be better. We're all trying to get better. And you have to admire that. And regardless of whether or not she had finished at that time or if I had finished at a lower time or whatever, it doesn't matter. We both went through it. We went through the thrill of the race. We went through the agony of the post-race. Like, right after, I felt good. I felt great. I was moving around. It was fine. And the next day, like, all of us, literally all of us, our legs were shot. Like, we were just sore the entire time. Like, I could barely bend over. I mean, it was crazy. We were just so tense. We were so tired. We were so sore. And the funniest thing, at least for me, was I got sick immediately after. I'm pretty sure because my immune system was in so much shock from running so much that I'd never done it before, and all of a sudden I just got sick. And I don't know if you guys can still hear it, but I've been sick for a while. Like, my voice is still a little raspy. I still have a cough. You can hear it. I'm a little nasally. I'm breathing through my mouth more, which I know can be a little annoying, especially through the microphone. But I'm getting over it, and it was just really funny because we'd suffered through it. No matter what time we'd finished at, we'd still suffer the same. And, if she wanted to sign up again, I'd do it with her. I wouldn't really care. As long as she told me beforehand, I'd be fine with it. But I couldn't see myself being one of those people that would run, like a marathon or half marathon or whatever in like as much as I could. Like, there's people out there with goals of running one half marathon or one marathon in every state. There's one girl that was there with us that had been through like 26 of the states. That's crazy. You'd ran a marathon in 26 states. That's something to admire. Again, that's something to respect. That's commitment right there. I mean, it's just insane. Like, not just running a marathon, but running 26 with the goal of being 50. There's people out there that had to be middle-aged or older. There's like 60-year-olds that were doing it. There were people that looked like they had been through some shit. Like, there were some people out there that probably weighed like 2, 3, maybe 400 pounds doing a half marathon, 13.1 miles. That's definitely something to admire. But for me, I just don't see myself needing to do that. Like, I was telling them I don't need to be validated through running a half marathon. I don't need to be validated through my time. I know who I am, and I know I'm not a good runner. I don't need to try and improve that because, I've said it a few times that you should always try and better yourself. But for me, running a half marathon, running that sort of distance wouldn't really be applicable to me. It's not applicable to bettering who I am. Because who I am is someone that sort of stays stationary, someone that sort of stands firm, right? Like, I sort of relate this to the flight or fight response. A lot of people, when they love running, they get that runner's high. I see them more of as like, not to say that like in a survival situation they wouldn't fight, not to say that they're cowards, not to say that they're afraid, but they're better runners than I am. And for me, I'm a better fighter than I am a runner. I'm a better sort of rock, a wall. I'm better doing that. I'm better being sort of a sort of defense. Like, if we were to play football, my position wouldn't be running back. It wouldn't be wide receiver. It'd be like a linebacker. It'd be a tight end. Someone that's closer to the line. Someone that's closer, being better, being stronger, being a wall, being stiff. That's just who I am. I'm not gonna shy away from that. I'm gonna embrace it. It's really just who I am. I feel like I'm stronger than I am faster. I feel like I'm more explosive than I am quick. Right? There's a difference between the two, and that's just what I feel about myself. Like, I feel I'd better myself by improving my sprint speed. My 100-yard dash, my 400-yard dash. I feel better doing that. I feel better improving just my 1 mile. That's what I feel better about. But a half marathon, a full marathon, yeah, sure, it'd feel good to get better. Maybe next time I do 2 hours. Maybe next time, God forbid, I become like an Olympic athlete and all of a sudden I do 1.5 hours. That's cool. That's great. That works for me. But it's not something I want to achieve. It's not something I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to get better at jiu-jitsu. I'm trying to get stronger in the gym. I'm trying to get faster with my sprint. I'm trying to get more explosive. That's what I want for my fitness level. And like I said earlier, you can respect that or not, but you should, because I respect people that don't do that. I respect people that want to achieve better times on their marathon, better times on their long distance runs, just as much as I respect people that want to achieve a higher squat, a higher bench. Just as much as I respect people that want to be world champions in a martial art, that want to be, pro football players. I respect that. You have to. But, that's just what I wanted to say. I just wanted to tell you guys that I did do the half marathon. I got, at least for me, a decent time. May or may not ever do it again. I definitely won't do it on my own. That's not something I won't just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to run a half marathon. Or I'm going to sign up for a half marathon. Maybe I'll do a full marathon. I don't think I'll ever do that. And that's just not me. Like I said, I feel like I could better myself by doing other physical activities. But mad respect to the people that can do that. People that can wake up and be like, I'm going to run a half marathon. Like B's mom, she runs 6 miles every day. That's something to admire. She's 55, 56 years old. 6 miles every day. Like, how do you not respect that? How do you not respect that woman? I do. That's just... But, I could keep going on this. I wanted to keep this one a little bit shorter, but, there it is. I ran the half marathon. It was all right. It was decent. If you run half marathons, if you run full marathons, mad respect to you. If you don't, and you don't ever think you will, maybe just try it. At least try it. Maybe think about it. Maybe run a 5K. That's definitely easier. Just only 3 miles. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to tell you guys that story. Shout outs to Savannah. Savannah's a great little hometown, great little city. And, go out there and better yourself. I don't care what you're doing. Just try and get better. Try and be better. That's the goal here. That's what the Rona system's all about. That's what I'm all about. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you have to do. You always got to try and better yourself. That's the goal in life. That is life. You always got to try. But yeah, guys, that's it for this one. If you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, please subscribe. Use any sort of whatever podcasting outlet you use, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Even if you go directly to the site, theronasystem.com, whatever you use, try and subscribe there. Try and give me a follow on Instagram at the Ronin System, no spaces. It's just a great way to support me, and a really good way to directly support me is through Patreon. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just sort of like a support website, I guess, that where you have like monthly subscriptions, and you just you give money to the people that you're a patron of. It's a great way to support them directly, and I do have one. Again, it's just the Ronin System. But, either way, guys, thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the listens. It's been great. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Get out there, get hungry, and good luck.